First question is, what do you believe your purpose is?
My purpose?
Yes.
My purpose is... Boy, that's an easy question. I don't believe in a purpose on earth. To every day give your best, to be positive. And I would say, you know, if you can make somebody each day feel better about themselves or learn something new, then you achieved your purpose.
I don't think there's like a purpose in the sense of when you like build something and it has something that you designated it to do because you're a conscious thing building it. Like we're more of a random chance kind of thing. But usually when people say like they have a purpose in life, they're referring to like a specific goal that they have and it's kind of a purpose they've given themselves. So like the thing you give yourself would be the best answer. But objectively, no purpose.
To live a good life.
To be happy.
Enjoy my life and then not negatively impact others in the fulfillment of that.
Well, in my particular case, I believe that my major purpose in life is to take care of my wife and to take care of my son in a way that's almost like laying down the perfect sacrifice fund. I think everybody feels this in their own way. They have something. There's got to be some purpose to my life such that the world is a better place left after I'm gone. Just the way that I inherited things from people, I think I need to leave it to others. And in my case, it's my near-term family, and beyond that, it's humankind in general.
What do you think decides right and wrong? Like morals, anything like that?
Well, I think it's a really good question. I think for a lot of people, the idea is that it's the individual, right? That what's right is kind of a subjective thing. But I would submit that I think that there's sort of a universal right and wrong that determines, and we kind of all have an understanding of that based off what our conscience tells us.
What is right and what is wrong is more of a collective thing. It's something that as a society we kind of have to decide on, sort of a common law, common sense. I would say morals are more personal virtues that you individually have to decide what is right and what is wrong. I think they share a lot in common identity-wise, but I would say one is more collective, one is more small scale.
I don't believe in a right and wrong.
Okay.
In an objective sense, but like obviously people have a sense of good in their own head. So I think it's just a matter of like things we associate with previous positive feelings, but there's kind of an endless rabbit hole to actually try to pin down what constitutes morality.
I think humans have an innate sense of right and wrong, and they know, and it has something to do with avoiding harm to others and being good to your community,
I think a lot of it deals with how you were trained as well as your own world experiences, and I think they can evolve over time.
What do you think of when you hear religion? Just what comes to mind?
Truth, and just one word, is that all you wanted?
No, just you can explicate on that.
Okay. Yeah, I believe that religion is the way that we go about finding out what our purpose is on this life, and the course of conduct that we should have in order to be happy.
What are my thoughts? I personally am not religious. If you look at my Facebook, it's just be nice to anybody. I think it can be a wonderful thing because you see all sorts of stories where people had personal issues and then they found God and then they turn around, and then you look at for centuries in the Middle East and it's had the opposite effect. And in the end, I think of a high school teacher of mine who didn't really have an opinion. He just said, you have to look at all the conflict and ask yourself, is it really worth it? I'm kind of straight down the middle of saying sometimes it's not worth it, sometimes it is.
I don't think there is a God. I think humans have yen to make sense of what the universe and the world and their friends are all about.
It seems that you could separate the social gospel from the ecclesiastical gospel. Social gospel meaning what we could do right here on earth for those around us. It almost becomes a value system, or our Judeo-Christian way of believing and conducting ourselves. It's almost like the religious, otherworldly aspects of it really are not terribly significant. It's how we could, just like a code by which individuals could live their lives on a daily basis. I would say I probably have a similarity parameter out there that was raised in a different value system, and they probably have their own beliefs about their value system. But at root, a lot of it has to do with how you value others and how you conduct your life and how you yourself define right from wrong.
Atheist.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts on Christianity? Very specific.
I mean, I definitely value the sense of community that it gives. I don't value what it teaches, just because I think it can be kind of dangerous to have, because I think it's wrong, right? I think it can be dangerous to have wrong conceptions. But I'm a big supporter of people that have a meaning that they found, a good community and things like that. And as long as it's nothing that's ever pushed on people, that's fine. Sometimes in its history it has been, and that wasn't fine, but I think it's good.
I believe that depends on how you value it. I think unfortunately, a lot of the people that capture major attention on the subject of Christianity today are not ones that I believe necessarily share my own value system, and I consider myself a Christian. Unfortunately, they get very, very confused about the political realm or imposing their will on others, and they should focus more, I believe, on living their own lives as an example of those around us, rather than trying to dictate terms to other people.
What do you think of Jesus Christ or anything along those lines of religion?
I actually recently attended a workshop here at Stanford. I think it was a historical view that Jesus really exists. So a philosopher and a historian had these amazing presentations. They talked about, just from a historical point of view, did he really exist as a person? And they went through New Testament, just historically, factually. And in the first 3 New Testaments, I believe he was considered a celestial being. He actually wasn't a person of blood. But then in the 4th one, I guess, was it Matthew, Luke, I'm not sure. The last one, they're trying to introduce him as a human person, which all of a sudden, from a historical point of view, he actually may not have existed as a physical person. He was more a story to educate people of the 1st century. But it's interesting now in the 21st century, people still believe these dogmas that were instituted in the 1st century when education did not exist, where they had to have some sort of system of values and system of beliefs so they could carry forward whatever they were doing. And basically, this whole presentation, what I learned from it was, and I kind of thought that deep inside, it was just to educate. Religion was put in place in the 1st century. It existed before. The Christianism, or Jesus, was actually an outcast. He was a Jewish outcast. The mainstream Judaism at the time did not accept his philosophies because he was preaching people empowerment. Because the people who were in charge of Israel at the time were somehow corrupted by the Roman emperors. And he came to the people and said, think for yourselves, be empowered. And the Judaism at the time did not believe what he was preaching, and the Passover was coming. So in a way, if he existed, if he was really crucified, it was the pillars of that Jewish community at the time who said, oh, we don't want all the Jewish people to suffer because of this one rebel amongst us. Let's just have the Romans taken down so the rest of the Jewish people can have a really nice Passover. So it was really an interesting historical presentation of how this religion came out to be, and I think it's just out of the struggle and empowerment for what people of the 1st century they had to have something to go on, because their daily lives were just a lot of grunt work. They imagine how different life is without any convenience that we have today. The electricity, the roads, we at least have options.
Yeah.
Back then, what were the options? People were doing, the education came through religion back then. Mm-hmm. But right now we have education from other sources. So for me, religion is just a story. It's a good story to kind of have the reference when you have a conversation with somebody to know what they really mean. And sometimes it's part of the tradition your family is told. There's certain rituals we go to. There's this holiday. It's basically mostly ritualistic rather than because I think we can grow as we grow. We accept all kinds of beliefs because deep down all the religions have the same moral beliefs. You know, the golden rule: treat the others how you would like to be treated. And they believe in different gods, but the essence of every religion is to educate people to find the inner good and you know, just do good deeds.